All right, so SAG-AFTRA is on strike, and the whole sea of information around this can be very confusing, both to union actors, to non-union actors, and to those of you that are not actors at all. So today, I'm going to break down the major issues around the strike and why this is a watershed moment in the history of acting, and no, I'm not overblowing it, and why non-union actors should pay attention, in fact, not only pay attention, but support the strike and advocate for us all. You remember that episode of Friends where Joey lost his health insurance?
Hey. Hey. Any good mail?
Yes, you got something from the Screen Actors Guild.
Ooh, it's probably a residual check. Hey, can you open it for me? I gotta see it.
Benefits lapsed.
That's weird. I don't remember being in a movie called Benefits Lapsed.
Okay, it's not a check. They're saying your health insurance expired because you didn't work enough last year.
A union actor, a SAG-AFTRA member, has to make at least, in today's day and age, $26,470 in a given year to qualify for health insurance. Well, you say, that's not much. That's not even a full-time wage, right? That should be a cinch, right? Wrong. Of the 160,000 union actors, how many do you think made that $26,470 last year and qualified for their health insurance? 12.7%, about 20,000 actors. You could fit them all in a single hockey arena. So 87% of actors last year didn't clear $26,470. Now, this strike is an action against scripted television and film productions. This includes major broadcast and cable, and maybe most importantly, streaming productions, both live action and animated. Things like news broadcasts, reality TV, and non-scripted programming are not part of this strike. Certain independent productions that have interim agreements with the union are allowed to continue. Radio work is not being struck, as well as certain types of voiceover that is not tied to scripted television, film, or video games. Now, the strike is against the AMPTP, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. Who are they, you might ask? They include Walt Disney Studios, including Disney Plus, which last year reported profits of $15.2 billion. Warner Media, who last year reported a profit of $8.9 billion with a B dollars. Netflix, 2022 profit, $6.4 billion. Universal Pictures, who last year made $5.2 billion in profit. And Amazon Studios, who doesn't disclose their yearly profit margins, but they're part of Amazon, the bigger company, who last year made $386 billion, and a big contributor to that was Amazon Studios. So one of the big central issues to the strike, as you might imagine, is fair compensation, particularly for work in streaming media and reruns. So in the last 5 years or so, streaming media has grown exponentially, and the problem is residuals, which covers actors' work for television shows that are made for network TV and then sold into syndication. The residual system hasn't kept up. Actors aren't being fairly compensated for streaming media that runs on places like Disney Plus and Amazon and Netflix. More and more programming is being shown on the streaming platforms, and the problem is the streaming platforms themselves are not being transparent about how much that content is running and how often that content is being replayed, and as a result, actors are making significantly less than they were under the days of network TV. Actor Kelly Stewart, who's been on TV series like Blackish and All American, says this: "The residuals that I get when it's on network television versus what I would get on Netflix are night and day. There's not just a difference between traditional residual television and streaming. They're not even in the same conversation," she told CNN. Now, on Twitter, she actually shared a screen grab of five residual payments totaling 13 cents for her work on streaming services. So yeah, it's about money, but more importantly, it's about corporate greed, and the greed of these huge corporations making billions in profits who refuse to share the wealth and pay the actors that make the content possible even a reasonable living wage. This is pure abuse. This is not about the 1,400 A-list movie stars, and if you think it is, you're wrong. This is about the other 165,000 actors, 87% of which don't even make a living wage. Take this example from voice actor Brock Powell. This is my grand total for 48 episode airings for a show produced during the early pandemic. We kept the industry going when no other productions could. Animation actors, writers, and artists deserve a fair share and better treatment. The total residuals he was paid for 48 episodes, $53.49. That won't even pay his goddamn YouTube TV bill for the month. Now, the other huge issue in the strike is AI and digital doubling. AMPTP wants the ability to scan background actors with multiple cameras from all kinds of different angles, pay them a half day's worth of labor, which, by the way, is less than $100, and they want to be able to use those scans to create background actors forever in any way they see fit, without their consent. They also want to be able to change principal performers' dialogue without their consent or without paying them, and even create brand new scenes without their actors' consent. Justine Bateman, the former actor who was in Family Ties years ago, she's also Jason Bateman's sister. She has a degree in computer science, and she says that this now gives the studios the ability to create entire new seasons of television programming without compensating the actors. This is why NAVA, the National Association of Voice Actors, advocates so strongly for the 3 C's: compensation, consent, and control. So all that said, you say to me, Paulie, who cares? I'm a non-union voice actor. This doesn't affect me. And if that's your stance, you are more wrong than all the black in space. These 2 core issues of the strike, fair compensation and control and consent over the use of our voice and likenesses, affects us all. All actors, all voice actors. The GVAA rate guide is a direct derivative from the SAG-AFTRA rate guide. What happens on screen directly affects what happens in voiceover. What happens in the union world directly affects what happens in the non-union world. We are at a seminal point in history where if actors, all actors, union actors, non-union actors, on-screen actors, voiceover actors, if we don't stand together in unison, stand tall, and stand strong, we will seal the fate of our industry forever. Now, in practical terms, if you're a non-union actor like me and you ever plan to join SAG-AFTRA at any level, whether it's FICOR or not, you cannot do struck work. Here's the official notice from SAG-AFTRA. Notice to non-members. Any non-members seeking future membership in SAG-AFTRA who performs covered services for a struck company during the strike will not be admitted into membership in SAG-AFTRA. And that's forever, kids. Now, I'm a non-union actor, and right now, I have no plans to join SAG-AFTRA. But who knows what's going to happen a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line. But regardless, I support the strike 1,000% because we are all actors, and the studios are literally trying to eliminate us from the process. We all need to have control over our images and our voices. We all need to have consent of how those images and voices are used, when they're used, how long they're used, and we all need to be compensated fairly and be paid a reasonable living wage for our work. If this abuse by producers is happening literally on the world's biggest stage, then the rest of us, especially us non-union talent, don't stand a chance. I'll put a link in the description and the show notes to the official SAG-AFTRA strike website, which has resources for union members, non-union members, indie producers, talent agents, and a whole lot more. What don't you get about the SAG-AFTRA strike? There's a lot of information out there, and it can be perplexing. Leave a comment, and I'll see if I can clear things up for you a little bit. If you found value from this video, please consider sharing it so that we can help educate other actors, other voice actors, and you can do that by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. I publish new videos for voice actors every Thursday, and I'd love you to join the conversation, both here on the channel at vopro.app and in the greater voiceover community at large. Thanks so much for your support. Thanks so much for joining the conversation. Thanks so much for sticking together, and we'll see you back here real soon.